Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Chronic Shrooms. I'm bringing you my second gun review of Battlefield 3 post-patch. I'm playing again on TDM Canals. Stated in my first gun review video, I'm playing TDM Canals because it provides long range, some long range, a lot of medium range and close range encounters, so you can see a variety of different aspects of the guns that I'm reviewing. Today I'm reviewing the AK74M assault rifle. It is unlocked by default, so you can get it as soon as you start playing the game on multiplayer. As for the American side, in order to use it, you need 220,000 assault kit points, which is the last gun you'll unlock for the US side, and you already have it unlocked for the Russian side. That's what default means. I'd like to talk about some facts for the AK74M real quick for you. You get the PSO 1 sight in 10 kills, the heavy barrel in 20, the foregrip in 30, the tactical light in 40, the Cobra sight in 50, the bipod in 60, the suppressor in 70, the PKAS sight in 80, laser sight in 90, infrared sight in 100, PKS 07 sight in 125, PKA sight in 150, flash suppressor in 175, ACOG sight in 200, reflex sight in 235, holographic sight in 270, rifle scope in 300, and the M145 sight in 350 kills. So you unlock everything for this gun in 350 kills, which is standard for the assault rifles. Nothing different about this gun than any other assault rifle in that regard. Suppression is at an average 7%. I've already told you that it's defaulted for the RU side, and for the US side you need 220,000 assault score points. Ammunition capacity is average. It's standard. I mean, you get 30 rounds, and then if you have one in the chamber, that would be 31. Reload time is 2.1 seconds loaded, 3.1 seconds empty, so that's really good. I mean, not as good as the M416, but yet again, it's an above average assault rifle for reloading, and that's a good thing, obviously. Rate of fire for the AK-74M is a low 650 rounds per minute. Velocity is an average 600 meters a second, and maximum range is the average 900 meters. So, with all of that being said on paper, there are ups and downs, highs and lows for this gun, so you would think that it would come out to, it would average out. I mean, yeah, it does, and really, first impression of this gun is, damn, there's like no recoil, even without a foregrip. But, as I start using it more, excuse me, as I start using it more, I did notice that, because it has a slow rate of fire, it lacks in the close range encounters and the hip firing deeply. Give me 1 second, I'm going to take a sip of my Coke here. I'm parched. Okay. With that being said, this gun is limited to one type of play style, and that's really not something you want with an assault rifle. The M416 there is a run and gun kit that you can use on it, and a kit where you keep distance between you and your enemy, and you're like off on the side and the edges of the map and just picking them off from a distance. Whereas with the AK-74M, I mean, I tried to run and gun and see what it was like, and it just didn't work. More than half the time I ended up getting gunned down by a person that a gun that shot faster than mine, even though it wasn't better specifically. But that's how guns work in this game, and the faster you can get the bullets off in your enemy, the faster you're going to kill him, obviously. So that's physics and common sense too. Although that is a very bad thing with the AK-74M, it does make up in its medium range and long range accuracy. This is definitely one of the better assault rifles for long range, and definitely up to par with the other assault rifles for medium range. Very accurate. Like I said, it doesn't need a foregrip to be accurate. Let's see here. One thing I don't recommend is obviously the running and gunning. But as for the attachments that I don't recommend is putting on a suppressor, even though you're trying to be sneaky, and for example you're playing Rush and you're trying to stay off the mini-map. With this gun you're going to be off at a distance anyway if you're using it correctly and how it's supposed to be used, and most efficiently. You're going to be off at a distance, so the enemy isn't always going to be going after you, and most of the time the enemy is going to be fighting your teammates and obviously off to a distance, and you're going to be able to pick them off from your location. So even though you don't have a suppressor on and you're on the mini-map, the enemy's not going to be going for you. Recommend you hide behind something and guard an area, guard your flanks, and just pick them off before the enemy can get any closer to you. The reason why I wouldn't put on a suppressor, because it decreases your maximum range for this gun, which decreases the power of your weapon, and this gun is fairly powerful and is really accurate, so your weapon, your AK74M, becomes more inaccurate with the suppressor, and you do keep off the mini-map. But the thing is, if you're staying in your location and guarding your flanks, after a while and you get a bunch of kills, people are going to know where you are, regardless of whether or not you have a suppressor or not, because you killed them a bunch of times. Yeah, the suppressor is good for being sneaky, like I said, and attacking on rush. But there would be different weapons I would pick for attacking on rush. This isn't one of those weapons where you'd run and gun on rush and attack as aggressively as you should, because this weapon isn't capable of the close range encounters of the running and gunning because of the slow rate of fire. So due to its power and high accuracy, you don't want to be toning its accuracy and high power down by putting on the suppressor. That's really something you don't want to be doing with this gun. That's the only thing this gun is good at. It's medium and long range, so you don't want to weaken that and put it at any more of a disadvantage than it already is, because really it's missing a dimension, and that's its close range attack. Like I said, the first impression though is, I mean, it's really accurate, so that's a good thing. It does have a good reload time, yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, but the close range really is such a big problem for me that I had to change my playstyle up, and like I said, it is a bad thing to only have one specific certain playstyle for a weapon. That's not good. The way I would have to go with this gun is to put on a heavy barrel, so it increases your aim down sight accuracy by making it easier for you to hit moving targets when you're aiming down your sight, and increasing your bullet velocity so your bullets travel faster, obviously. Putting on a foregrip. The gun is accurate without the foregrip, but really you don't need a laser sight because you're not going to be hip firing that much, or using a tack light because you're not going to be in close range a lot. You're going to be at a distance and picking enemies off if you're using it correctly and the way I recommend it, which I think is the most efficient way to use it. So like I said, having the heavy barrel, having the grip to just give you that little bit more accuracy for aiming down your sight, and the heavy barrel will also increase your accuracy aiming down the sight. And then really it's up to you to decide what distances you're going to be picking off enemies with. If it's medium, short, medium, then you're going to want a Cobra sight or a reflex sight. If it's medium, then you can go to a holographic, which is a one-time zoom, the holographic sight. And if it's long range, you can even put on an M145 sight, which is a 3.4 zoom, or even an ACOG sight, which is a 4-time zoom. That's the good thing about the AK74M. It allows you to use any of the sights that you want because of its range capabilities. Like I have said, this gun is one of the better assault rifles, if not one of the best, for long ranges, because you could space out your shots and it's very accurate. And especially with the right attachments on it, the ones I'm using right now, which is heavy barrel, red dot sight, or reflex sight, and a grip. I probably should have used a holographic or maybe even a M145 3.4 zoom scope, but you could see here, even with the no zoom magnification reflex sight, it still does work from medium to long range. And yes, spacing out my shots and the slow rate of fire makes this gun really accurate, especially with the combination of a grip and a heavy barrel. If I were to run and gun with this gun, I should have changed the attachments from grip to laser sight, and from heavy barrel to flash suppressor, and just kept the reflex sight, or maybe even put on a Cobra sight, which is just the Russian version of the reflex sight. But like I said, it's just better to leave it from a distance, pick enemies off from medium to long range, watch your flanks, and pretty much just support your team from a distance with this assault rifle, because it's good for range and it's good for accuracy and it's good for power, but its slow rate of fire makes it lack in the firing from the hip business, and that's really not a good thing for an assault rifle, something that you expect would be decent or good at close range firing. I will be rating this gun, but since it's so one-dimensional, that kind of decreases its point value, in my opinion. in everyone's opinion, really. You want a gun that's good at close range and medium range, then medium range and long range, especially for an assault rifle. For other guns, then there might be different circumstances or different ways to go about it, but for an assault rifle you really want that close range to at least be decent, and your medium range to be decent. Again, the AK74M really shows its true value in the medium range department, and in the long range department it excels, but I'm just not used to using assault rifles in long ranges like I am right now, so I don't recommend running and gunning with it or using the laser sight and flash suppressor setup with a reflex sight. I mean, that's if you really want to, but I don't recommend it. Let's see. Whereas for the M416, if you want to run and gun, you can put on a foregrip, leave it with a flash suppressor and have a reflex sight, or put on a laser sight and have a flash suppressor and a red dot sight. See, there's two different combinations for the M416 for running and gunning. There's also two different combinations for keeping off at a distance like I am with the AK74M. Let's see, for the AK74M, I'm going to rate it right now. It's going to get a solid 70 out of 100, so it gets an average score. That's really what this gun is. It makes up for its bad hip firing by its good aiming down the sight. So please subscribe and like if you're new. This is Chronic Shrooms. Till next time. Doing with this gun, that's the only thing this gun is good at. It's medium and long range, so you don't want to weaken that and put it at any more of a disadvantage than it already is, because really it's missing a dimension, and that's its close range attack. Like I said, the first impression though is, I mean, it's really accurate, so that's a good thing. It does have a good reload time. Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean,